We get 50 pounds a week and we open the bag up and let it breathe. Patios offset. We did water features. We have an outdoor bar, an outdoor stage.
Why deprive the girls of a dress if an act of God happened?
They're taking dresses to be donated to Marshalltown High School juniors and seniors for free.
That we're helping community outside of repairing the physical homes. We're repairing what's happening inside the homes.
Donated medals are handed out to patients who complete a 5K, a half marathon, and a full marathon.
It was nice to be able to push myself to do something that I can be proud of.
From 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald, this is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
Good morning and thanks for joining us this Sunday. Football season is finally here and Mother Nature has already put the brakes on a few games this year. As we saw last week with the Huskers cancellation, severe weather is now a factor that must be considered at all levels when it comes to safety on the field. But as 3 News Now reporter Alex McClune looked into what goes into the decision to play, delay, or cancel a high school game.
It may not have the statewide anticipation like last weekend's Husker season opener, but preparing for any inclement weather during a game like Thursday night's battle between Omaha North and Millard West still requires plenty of attention for athletic directors like Lance Smith. School officials track storms each week, and the work continues well after kickoff.
If we've started a contest and we've got severe weather that comes in, the district uses an app that all administrators have. And you can set that up to notify you when there's a lightning strike within a certain radius. If we do have a lightning strike within 8 miles, then we'll suspend the game.
The Nebraska State Athletics Association says games must suspend play for 30 minutes after lightning strikes within 8 miles. It can be frustrating for players and parents both. When it comes to softball, school officials watch for lightning 10 miles away. Players and parents are at the mercy of umpires and Mother Nature. Matt Rudloff says 2 canceled games for Marion High are hard on his schedule and his daughter's.
It throws off schedules. My daughter has to find someone to work for her on the days that it gets rescheduled. It throws off schedules.
The threat of lightning, like during last Saturday's Nebraska game, is serious. Lightning strikes put athletes, coaches, and fans in danger.
You know, when it comes to lightning, a lot of times people don't really realize just how far away it can travel. So even if a storm is several miles away, lightning from that storm can travel about 3 to 5 miles away from a storm. So that's one of the reasons why you hear a lot about why people take the extra precautions.
The Nebraska School Activities Association says different sports handle bad weather on a case-by-case basis. The association works with schools and the National Weather Service for postseason games. A post on social media stirred up the search for one Nebraska fan, captured in a photo years ago. That post led us to superfan Jim Buchanan. Buchanan has missed just 5 games in the last 5 decades. Perhaps you've seen the picture on social media of him holding a Nebraska Beat CU plate at the Huskers-Colorado game in Boulder in 1995. He began going to Husker games since 1959 and shared the story behind that now viral photo.
It's not actually a Beat CU license plate. This is, I used to have license plates that said Beat OU. It's actually an O. And back in the, before I went to the Colorado game, my wife painted this little section out of the O to make it Beat CU.
Such a great backstory. Buchanan says the loudest Husker games tended to be against Oklahoma, and the nicest away experience was at Texas A&M back in the days of the Big 12. It is a cruel crime, and the victims are Little League baseball players. Vandals broke a fence and a bench at the Hillside Field near 83rd and Western. The organization believes the damage happened Sunday night. Fortunately, the field is unscathed. Still, league official Neil Moosman is frustrated.
You're just really hurting all the kids that live in the neighborhood. I just see it was really a stupid thing to do.
This is not the first time Hillside has been damaged. In 2012, thieves stole thousands of dollars worth of copper wiring from the fields. We've all seen the warning posts on Facebook, people saying they've been approached in a parking lot or at a store, and they turn to social media to warn others, fearing it may have been an attempt at human trafficking in the Omaha area. But sometimes those stories take on a life of their own. 3 News Now reporter John Kipper has an important caution from police.
Over the last several months, women in the metro say that they have been pursued for sex trafficking in parking lots, such as this. But law enforcement says that they're often targeted for other reasons. A recent incident occurred in a Target parking lot in Papillion, where a woman believed she was being approached for sex trafficking. She then went on social media to warn others about her story. Papillion police caught wind of the incident, investigated, and found it was not sex trafficking, but instead a pyramid scheme. Deputy Police Chief Chris Whitted asked that in the future, women give them a call before taking to social media.
Sometimes certainly things are taken out of context or misconstrued by the person, and then when they go to social media and post this, it can sometimes create a panic that didn't need to be.
Police also say that women should be cognizant of the threat of sex trafficking and always be aware of their surroundings. Now, Whitted also said that he can't stop women from going on social media and talking about these incidents. He again just wants them to contact law enforcement beforehand. In Papillion, John Kipper, 3 News Now.
A number of local police departments are taking to social media and neighborhood apps to also remind people to always report incidents first to police. It is impossible to miss if you head outside, the constant buzz of cicadas. But could that noise predict the weather? When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we take a look at what their presence could mean to our future weather forecast. The official start of fall is just days away, 15 to be exact, but a calendar is not necessary to find another sign of the season. As 3 News Now meteorologist Audra Moore tells us, all you have to do is listen to that annoying buzz outside, which means the cicadas are here.
UNL Extension entomologist Jonathan Larson says the cicadas are a staple of late summer months that most people can identify, usually because of their loud sounds.
Anywhere between July up into September. It's different species that you're hearing at different times. If you train your ear, you can actually listen and hear the differences between the songs that they're singing.
Cicadas can cause a few problems for trees when the females cut a slit in the tree to lay her eggs, but they are basically harmless to people.
They can poke us with their mouth if you were to pick them up, but generally they're just going to hang on and try and figure out why you're manhandling them.
Cicadas are helpful to other animals.
Cicadas are an excellent food source for lots of animals. Lots of things like to eat them. They're a big protein bar for things like turkeys and squirrels and other birds.
And it's the males who are making all of that racket by quickly flexing their tymbal muscles.
Males are hollow on the inside, and so that sound reverberates inside of them, and it comes out as that really loud, shrill trill that we hear during the summer.
Some people believe the first song of the Dog Day cicada, which emerges late July, early August, is a signal the first frost will happen 6 weeks later. Since our average first frost is by mid-October, that may not be too far off. After a very wet start to September, it appears we are going to start drying out. A warm front hangs out over the area for most of the week, but does not provide us with much moisture. With drier air ahead this week, temperatures start warming back up again, with afternoon highs climbing into the 80s by Tuesday and staying there the rest of the week. If you're a member of a superstore like Costco or Sam's Club, then you already know the great deals that come along with it. But one of their perks you may not know about is you can buy your car through them. Annie Taylor is checking it out to see if you really should skip the dealership.
When you're shopping inside places like Costco, you walk up and down the aisles to pick out the supersized items you want, but don't expect to walk up and down the parking lot to pick out your next vehicle. Costco, Sam's Club, and Walmart all offer the perk of buying a car through them.
These services are an opportunity for price assurance for a consumer, but it's not necessarily always going to be the best price.
They work with auto dealerships to determine a fixed price, and then they act as a broker. But Tim Jackson with the Colorado Auto Dealers Association says those superstores are making money off those sales.
What's in it for Costco is that monthly fee that the dealer would pay to Costco to be the dealer for that brand.
Because places like Costco get paid to be the middleman, the prices of their vehicle aren't always the lowest price.
If the consumer really wants to get a better price on a vehicle, they're probably going to be better off shopping it between dealers and ultimately having it delivered by a dealer without the intermediary.
A perk to buying your car through Costco, Walmart, or even a Sam's Club is that they do their own background checks on the dealerships. They look for the best prices, reputation, and even customer satisfaction index scores. Tim did warn us about a few downsides, like trading in your vehicle to buy a new one.
The dealer is prepared to value and price the trade. They can't do that in the contract with us Costco because there's so many unique characteristics with each trade.
Also, when it comes to financing, you're likely to get more options through a dealer. If you hate negotiating and haggling, then this is actually a really great way to avoid all that because the superstores do all the hard work for you. I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
In the past 5 years, over 1 million Costco members have purchased a vehicle through the program. The Omaha Zoo's newest tufted puffin chick got to take a dip. This little guy or gal has graduated to the big puffin pool. The chick was born in June. It's finally able to get its feet wet. The tufted puffin is a seabird from the waters and islands of the North Pacific. Wine and Wisconsin cheese, two favorite things of this native cheesehead. And now I don't even have to go to Wisconsin to find my squeaky cheese. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we take you to the small shop that's in the business of tracking down all things cheese. Cheese enthusiasts will likely tell you the best cheese comes from Wisconsin. The cheese is so good, the people of the state are proud to be called cheeseheads. But now a shop right here in the metro is bringing you that amazing squeaky cheese without the trip north. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Chris Makian takes us to the Papillion Parlor with cheeses from around the world.
Here we have a wine and cheese parlor. I call it the Stave. I named it after a piece of wood that makes up a wine barrel. Everything that we serve here is fresh Wisconsin cheeses. We started our cheese house right next door 4 years ago. And so the artisans that agreed to ship us the cheese and meats within 48 hours of being cut are the ones that we signed up with. That way we can offer squeaky cheese curds, which is a big Wisconsin thing. It's right out of the vat. They're pretty much still warm when they get to us, and we get 50 pounds a week, and we open the bag up and let it breathe, and truly the freshest cheeses you can get. It kind of reminded me of a Napa feel. So under those big old maple trees, we put patios offset. We did water features. We have an outdoor bar, an outdoor stage. We offer live music Fridays and Saturday nights, and people have come to really enjoy it. What we did with our store and our parlor is bring things in that made us go, wow. My husband's from northern Wisconsin, and we've been trafficking cheese together for 20 years.
Cheese traffickers love it. Stave Wine and Cheese Parlor is on North Washington Street in Papillion. It's open on Friday and Saturday nights. A small Nebraska town made its big screen debut at the Venice Film Festival. A Western movie shot in western Nebraska gave aspiring actors a chance to show off their skills. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we take you to the casting call. Here in the Great Plains region of the United States, down Interstate 80 to the Panhandle, small town Nebraska, the perfect setting for this next story. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, a Western film shot near Scottsbluff. The movie's world premiere is wrapping up this weekend at the Venice Film Festival. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Ryan Soderlin talks with some Hollywood hopefuls where it all started at the casting call.
Well, the last time I was an extra in a film, it won 4 Oscars. Don't think Jack Nicholson and Anne Margaret or anybody else that was in terms of endearment had anything to do with it. was probably because I was walking around on the sidewalk.
I've got a suntan. And one of the most beautiful silver beards you're going to see out here. So the proof is in the pudding.
A little piece of Coen Brothers history, I guess. Too late to be in Raising Arizona or Blood Simple, so I guess I'm going to be in this one maybe.
Can't even begin to think about it. It's like when I learned about the Swan Land and Cattle Company that owned 1 million acres from Cheyenne to Douglas and into Nebraska. I just can't get my hands around it. It's kind of that experience, just something I dreamed about, but you know, maybe now, who knows?
Growing up on a small town area in North Dakota, you never think you'd get an opportunity to even be in the background of such a movie making, and so I mean it's a big adventure for me. It's something I'll remember forever if I make it.
Yeah! You want anything more? Enough said?
I don't know how to top that, so I think we'll call it there.
Looks like the Coen brothers had some great characters to choose from. Students at one Omaha elementary school are learning firsthand what it takes to deliver the news. We go behind the scenes at Wilson Focus School to see how they put a show together and why when Omaha Sunday Morning continues. With tight deadlines, writing stories, and getting a broadcast on air, there is more that goes into a TV newscast than meets the eye. It's a lesson students at one Omaha school are learning firsthand. 3 News Now reporter Shantae Passmore gives us a look behind the scenes at Wilson Focus School.
It's always chaotic right before the morning news.
And what time is it?
At Wilson Focus Elementary School, there's the mic checks.
Oh, so do we just say testing?
Last-minute script changes.
She wants you to add tomorrow to it.
Then, it's go time.
Good morning, Lions. Please get your smart boards ready for the morning news.
We do it every day, and we rotate different, classrooms each day. So by the time we get to the end of the year, they've I think every kid's really had a chance to be on the news.
As anchor Kennedy Jackson explains, the job has perks.
Because I can be on TV and I like to talk.
But if behind the scenes is more your thing,
so it's like
that's also an option.
You can change what the background would look like because we have a green screen back there.
This daily product fits well into the curriculum since the Focus School is heavy on technology, communication, and leadership. Just like live TV, everyone stumbles.
I don't know that word either. Contributes.
In this pack of lions, they help each other out.
I pledge to do my best every day in every way.
To be respectful, responsible, and safe.
Showing true lion pride. Roar!
First National Bank of Omaha student.
I think they do a fantastic job. Way to go, kids. There's a lot going on this week in Omaha. Here's a look at 3 things you need to know about. A softball game to help a firefighter who was injured while raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association is happening today. Omaha and Papillion firefighters will play in the benefit game to help Tom Bartek and his family. Bartek was hurt last month when he was bull riding to raise money for MDA. Following his release from the hospital, he went into rehab at Madonna. The game is scheduled for 1 p.m. today at Kelly Fields. A group of young professionals is working to challenge and inspire their peers in the workplace and at home with a special event today. The Urban League of Nebraska Young Professionals is hosting a symposium today called Level Up. The event will focus on topics like the workplace, finances, and relationships. It starts in about an hour and runs until 6:30 tonight. Our own Shantae Passmore will MC the event. And Terrence Bud Crawford is coming home for his next fight, and tickets to the fight go on sale Tuesday. The WBO welterweight champion will take on unbeaten challenger Jose Benavidez Jr. in a title fight in his hometown. The two will meet in the ring on October 13th at the CHI Health Center Omaha, formerly the CenturyLink Center. The bout will be shown on ESPN. It's been weeks since devastating tornadoes hit central Iowa. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we show you how one company is stepping up to help those still recovering and how a big donation is helping girls look their best at homecoming.
You've heard all about it. See the interview. Bob Woodward, this Sunday Morning.
A generous donation to help teenagers return to some normalcy after a tornado in July ripped apart their community of Marshalltown, Iowa. Reporter Jake Wazakowski has the story of one local business here in Omaha giving kids there a chance to celebrate.
When you care about something, you just do it.
Terry Schmea knows about helping girls and women look their best.
So we've got just a lot of dresses we're going to be donating.
And she's packing up more than 600 dresses from her store, Cinderella's formal gown rental, to help teens feel good about themselves after living through the unthinkable.
Anytime there's a disaster, that's the last thing somebody's going to think of is, I want to buy a dress. So, why deprive the girls of a dress if an act of God happened?
They're taking dresses to be donated to Marshalltown High School juniors and seniors for free for their homecoming dance. After the tornado, neither store in town that sold dresses reopened. Her friend Paula Wilshire saw the devastation with Excel Roofing and contacted Terry.
This is absolutely a feel-good moment for us to be able to know that we're helping community outside of repairing the physical homes. We're repairing what's happening inside the homes. So it's a good thing.
The school district says about 70% of students are on reduced and free lunches, and they've worked to locate all the displaced families and kids. And students are excited about the dance. And Terry says they're taking so many dresses to Marshalltown, they might be able to give students more than one. A unique gesture bringing normalcy to kids who've been through so much.
So hopefully some of these girls will get to walk out with 2 dresses, one for church. It's one night out of their life they can forget about their problems. Let's have some fun.
So great. Students got to try the dresses on yesterday. The big homecoming dance is on September 29th. It was an odd sight for people stopping for their cup of joe before work on Friday. Omaha police officers on the roofs of local Dunkin' Donuts. Officers held signs and waved at customers, all on a mission to help raise money for the law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics. Those who gave money got a coupon for a free medium coffee. As part of the effort, Dunkin' Donuts is donating $1,000 to the torch run, too. With a price tag of more than $20 million, a popular Omaha arena is now sporting a new name. It used to be the Quest Center, then the CenturyLink Center. Now the venue is officially called the CHI Health Center Omaha. Crews started work this week to remove the CenturyLink Center branding at the arena near 10th and Capitol. The name change is something residents say they'll have to get used to.
I would think it would be somewhere you went to the doctor or did something for your health. I wouldn't think it would be an event center.
I think so. I don't think it's any odder than it being a CenturyLink Center. It doesn't matter to me. Someone paid money and got the naming rights. Is what I would think.
We learned earlier this summer that the Denver-based health system acquired the naming rights, which will last 20 years. It's the unofficial start to the holiday season, but next year there will be a change at Jean Leahy Mall. The popular tree lighting ceremony that draws thousands of people for a countdown will continue this year, but officials say it will not happen for the following 3 years. The mall will be torn up and the lagoon drained starting next year as part of a plan to raise the area to street level. The work will start as early as March. The New Year's Eve fireworks show will remain downtown through the construction. Receiving a cancer diagnosis can be a very lonely experience, but at Nebraska Medicine, a simple walk is helping ease the stress and sadness for patients during their stay. 3 News Now reporter Alexa Ray visited with patients to show us what the walking program is all about.
When it comes to treating cancer, there are a lot of finish lines that patients cross. For example, the last chemo treatment or the last diagnosis. But one finish line on this floor is motivating patients to get up and walk.
A simple walk can do a lot for a patient who has been diagnosed with cancer. But finding that motivation isn't always easy.
We had a lot of people that would walk the halls, but it was difficult to get everybody walking.
Giselle Toltze is a nurse in the special care unit at the Buffett Cancer Center, and she decided to come up with some sort of incentive to get patients up and moving. This May, she started a walking program where patients are encouraged to do laps around the unit.
And I think there's a psychosocial component also that, staying in your room all day doesn't really help, motivate you to get better. So getting out and talking to people that may be going through the same thing as you are is so much better than talking to us about it.
Each lap equals a mile, and donated medals are handed out to patients who complete a 5K, a half marathon, and a full marathon. 26-year-old Lucas Souza was diagnosed in February with an uncommon type of lymphoma that affects the brain. After 8 rounds of chemo and a stem cell transplant, he is now in recovery. So far, he has completed a 5K.
I'm not a huge exerciser outside of here, so it was nice to be able to push myself to do something that I can be proud of.
His goal is to get to a half marathon before he is released.
I figure if I do about 10 laps a day, which equals out to about a mile, I should be able to hit there.
Souza says walking has helped him see that he is not alone in his battle. Also fighting is 61-year-old Robert Turk. He was diagnosed with lymphoma in 2014. He has completed 22 laps since he started walking Friday.
I go till I get tired and then we start all over again.
Turk says, like Souza, going for a simple walk makes him feel less alone and prepared to continue his fight.
It's unbelievable seeing people going through the same stuff or worse, than I am right now. Everybody's still trying and we're all working on it, that's for sure.
And keep working on it. The best to them. Since the program started in May, 4 patients have completed a full marathon. For expectant mothers, the weeks before delivery are typically full of mixed emotions, excitement of course, but there can be some nerves mixed in, and having friends to chat with can really make all the difference. It's something 3 military wives know all too well. They were brought together by their husbands' jobs, but now share a bond that will last a lifetime. The women each went into labor at the same time and delivered 3 babies within days of each other. 3 News Now reporter Sydney Gray shares their story.
I was like, I know it's Stephanie. Yeah. Shayna Hoffman, Stephanie Franklin, and Sierra Leister met after moving to Omaha for their husbands' jobs. The men all work at Offutt Air Force Base. All 3 women, soon to be mothers, joined a support group with other military wives.
I think most of the folks in our group are going to be moving next summer. So just to kind of create a family within a family and then expand your family is beautiful.
Now the women have an even closer connection with their babies being born days apart. Shayna was the first to give birth to 8-pound Dalton on Labor Day.
I think we joked about it, but didn't believe it happened. Yeah.
The next day, Stephanie delivered her 6-pound baby girl, Natalia. The mothers were even in rooms right next to each other.
We were all in the same hallway too, so we kind of heard each other.
Thursday morning, Sierra gave birth to her daughter, Sadie.
Pretty ironic that all 3 of them were supposed to go in at the same time, even though everyone had due dates kind of separated. Not too far apart, but not on the same day either, which is kind of cool. Within a few days, we had 3 different babies.
The mothers say they're happy to share a bond for a lifetime, no matter where the military takes their families.
So, gonna definitely have some play dates and get together and just support each other.
In Omaha, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now.
Oh, such cuties. The Bellevue, Nebraska Medical Center says they can't recall a time when they've had 3 patients deliver at the same time who also knew each other. You may think checks are a thing of the past, but scammers say think again. Coming up, a look at the latest scam that relies on you cashing a check so criminals can cash in big. The Nebraska State Patrol calls it an epidemic. Unsafe bikers speeding, weaving in and out of traffic, and pulling dangerous stunts. It comes as troopers in Omaha wrap up a summer-long special enforcement, but not before a dangerous display over the Labor Day weekend. 3 News Now reporter Megan Hahn spoke with a woman who caught the stunt on camera.
They flew by and I just gasped for air.
Crystal Donnelly was riding shotgun Sunday when she spotted this group of bikers behaving badly on I-680.
They were popping wheelies up on one wheel. They were standing up. That's really the only one that we caught, was just constant going up in the air, popping that wheelie, standing on one tire. For some people, they might think it's cool to see, but for us driving on the road, we are worried that anything can happen.
Donnelly says she sees this kind of behavior on Omaha roads at least twice a week.
This is careless. Regardless if you're experienced, it's scary and it's dangerous, and the interstate is not the place for it.
Law enforcement is working to curb this kind of reckless driving. Nebraska State Patrol Troop A in Omaha arrested 3 motorcycle riders for reckless driving and gave out 36 speeding tickets in a special enforcement operation that ended in August. NSP isn't the only agency cracking down on risky riders.
As of the last several years, we've had an increase. So we get a lot of broadcasts through 911 of packs or groups of motorcycles driving recklessly on the interstate, from doing wheelies to cutting people off to high speeds.
Because when the speedometer climbs, police say a vehicle can end a life.
It becomes a weapon at that point, obviously. Any vehicle traveling at any type of speed, but you get a motorcycle doing in excess of 170 miles an hour, and you can easily, impale a car or themselves. Somebody could die pretty quickly.
NSP says Nebraska's motorcycle fatality rate hit a 20-year high in 2017. There were 26 deaths. About 40% of them happened in Omaha. If you think checks are a thing of the past, criminals are proving you wrong. Now a warning from the Better Business Bureau. Check scams are on the rise. As 3 News Now reporter Jake Wazakowski explains, the bad guys are targeting young adults.
The BBB says an old scam is getting an updated twist. A new study says more than 500,000 people were duped by counterfeit checks in 2018, and consumers between the ages of 20 to 29 were victimized more than any other age range. Maggie's from Lincoln and says about a year ago she found a mystery shopping job on Facebook. She researched the company, found pages of good reviews, and deposited a check they sent into her bank account.
I knew to look for a routing number, an account number, and a check number.
They told her to purchase Walmart gift cards and send the codes to shop with. Days later, her bank told her the check was fake, and she was out the cash.
It was devastating for me. I'm thankful that it was only almost $3 grand. It could have been so much more, but for my family with 3 kids at home right before Christmas, I mean, it was devastating.
The BBB says scammers are targeting young adults because they understand they're looking for flexibility with jobs, either in similar fields or mystery shoppers. Plus, they're accessible on social media.
Just a general vulnerability that they may not be as aware of the fact that these employment scams exist in the same way that maybe an older demographic would be, that pays maybe closer attention to our warnings on this kind of crime.
The BBB says not only are these checks becoming more legitimate and more sophisticated, but also they're creating websites or hijacking websites to make themselves look more legitimate as well. Many of the criminals are from Nigeria, so it's difficult to prosecute them. Maggie wants people to be careful and communicate with your bank to see if a check has been fully deposited.
This is not your mom or dad or grandpa's scam anymore. It really is highly sophisticated, very detailed.
If you ever question whether something could be a scam, you can always check with the BBB. In a moment, life took a frightening turn for a Nebraska man, a health scare in the middle of an airport. But today he's doing well thanks to a new friend he now says is like a son. Meet the man who is in the right place at the right time to save a life. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues. And now a look at what's happening this week in Omaha. Tuesday marks 17 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And there are a number of tributes and memorial services planned in Omaha and the surrounding area. And on Thursday, couples will take over Zorinsky Park for a special date night. Couples will canoe across the lake to a romantic picnic complete with sunset views. For more information on these events and many more this week, take a look at the community calendar on omaha.com. A Nebraska man plans to take a Missouri man to a Husker game this fall to thank him for saving his life. Hank Vaughn was traveling for work when his heart stopped during a layover in St. Louis. That's when Christopher Bartle stepped in and began CPR. Now Vaughn says he considers the man who saved his life one of his kids. Until a week ago, Christopher Bartle was a complete stranger to Hank Vaughn. But now their bond,
I can't tell you,
is thick as blood.
Wouldn't be here. I prayed for you a lot. He's one of my kids now. I mean, saved my life. Wouldn't be here.
Bartles is a Southwest airline employee. He was in Terminal 2 on Monday morning when Vaughn's heart stopped.
I went over, you were all turning blue, and I checked your pulse, and I just remember going through my head, I'm like, all right, this is happening. I got to do this.
Bartles explained the CPR he performed to Vaughn, who has no short-term memory of the health scare.
And we probably shocked you like 6 times at least. And
That probably explains why I can't remember very much.
Which is why this is their first time truly meeting each other.
I was very blessed that he was there.
And their connection was instant. Wow. Vaughn is lucky he still has his infectious laugh. Doctors at DePaul Hospital who surgically implanted a defibrillator in him say that if he didn't get the CPR as immediately as he did, he would have died or had serious neurological complications. But since he did survive and even made a full recovery, he has new plans in life.
Be a little more grateful, I guess, that I've got this second chance. So, not everybody gets that.
Bartles is grateful too. At 29, he never expected to get a second father figure.
The way the world is nowadays, a lot of people would have just walked by and not do anything. You got to be the change in the world that you want everybody else to be.
It's just wonderful that he was there and he knew exactly what to do. Vast blue skies, a sea of green grass blowing in the breeze. Dave Hutchinson's 5,000-acre ranch comes with quite the view. He's run his business in the rolling hills for decades. His life on the ranch is anything but usual. Dave's way of life is even attracting people as far away as Europe, hoping to take in a slice of the plains. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Ryan Soderling gives us a tour of the frontier.
Well, the Native Americans would tell you that it's sacred land, and they've been here, and it kind of feels that way. So water's important. You got to have water. And then as far as the grasses, we have our sub-irrigated meadows, which are real important to us as far as grazing and haying. And in the wintertime, if it's above 50 degrees, these sub-irrigated meadows will actually grow a little bit each day if it's above 50. It's a combination of the native grasses in the hills and the meadows and the clovers that make the good beef. And then the reason it's good is the omega-3 and 6 ratio is perfect on grass-fed animals. When you feed them grain, that changes the omega-6s. So instead of being perfect, that gets out there 1 to 76 instead of maybe 1 to 6, and that's your cells in your body cannot absorb that many 6s, and you get health problems. They're fed right. They're fed all grass. If it's not grass-fed, it's not gourmet. Grass-fed, grass-finished, never in a feedlot. That's kind of our philosophy.
Just a beautiful part of the state. From favorite foods to best dance moves, we fill in the blank with Husker linebacker Luke Gifford when Omaha Sunday Morning continues.
What makes these horses so special? They're some of the most athletic in the world, and they're clones.
Number 4, 9.
Oh my God.
Number 6.
60 Minutes tonight.
This Sunday morning, reporter Bob Woodward's revealing new book on life inside the Trump White House. The enduring songs of Rodgers and Hammerstein, and we'll tell you what really is in a name, and more, coming right up.
Husker football season is in full swing, and sports reporter Phil Bergman is covering all things Huskers. This week, ahead of the Colorado game, he sat down with Luke Gifford. It's a little segment we're calling Fill in the Blank.
Scale of 1 to 10, how hyped were you for that tunnel walk?
Definitely 10, no doubt.
I was at like a 13 personally, and I wasn't even here. What does one do on a rain delay?
Dance off in the weight room.
Dance off in the weight room.
Yeah, I'm not a winner there. I'd pick Stan.
Luke, you know some people can make that like rain noise. Can you do that at all?
I cannot. I'll try for you. Yeah, not bad.
I think it's raining outside. I think I just heard it in here. Are you scared of lightning at all?
No, I love lightning.
If we were to turn Memorial Stadium into a water park, what ride would you put in here?
Definitely one of those big tubes where you slide back and forth.
Slip and slide across the entire field?
Yes, exactly.
Next time it rains, that's what we'll do. Luke Gifford and I will be slip and sliding across the field. Akron didn't have hotels to stay. What are your thoughts about housing the entire Zips team at your apartment in the future?
I think, hey man, if we get to have a game, then I'm down.
Athletic Director Larry Williams, if you hear this, Captain Luke Gifford has personally invited the entire Zips team to stay at his house. Luke, you guys are playing the Colorado Buffaloes. Do you like buffalo sauce?
I love buffalo sauce.
What about buffalo chicken pizza?
Not a big buffalo chicken pizza guy.
Buffalo burgers.
Buffalo burgers. I love buffalo burgers.
Do you think you guys maybe as a pregame meal will have some buffalo to get ready for this game?
That's up to Dave Ellis. It wouldn't surprise me.
Hey, Luke, thank you so much for joining us, and this was
Fill in the Blanks.
And that's all for this week. Thanks for watching Omaha Sunday Morning. We'll see you back here next week.